Everyone is always trying to perfect their ice cream recipe. Well, today we have an ingredient that's going to help get you there.
Today on WTF, we're going to be looking at Gum and how it can add creaminess to your recipe. And we're going to show you a great recipe for vanilla ice cream and raspberry sorbet swirl. Hello and welcome to WTF, where we transform food here in the Modernist Pantry Test Kitchen. I'm Chef Scott Guerin.
And I'm Janie Wang, the owner of Modernist Pantry. So here on WTF every week we cover really unique ingredients and cooking techniques that you won't find anywhere else. So if you like what you see, remember to subscribe and also ring the bell to get notified of our new content that comes out every Tuesday. Now today Scott and I were going to cover Gum, and we've covered many different types of hydrocolloids on WTF, so we're going to toss in one more because it's fun and also it's a really interesting ingredient. So Scott, why don't we start off with the explanation of what is Gum?
So Gum is it's a super thickener, so a small amount can thicken a little bit of liquid a lot. And it's actually also known as Peruvian carob gum. So if you see it references that, just know that it is Gum. And just a small amount of it can be used to thicken things like ice cream base or even sorbet base.
Okay, and how exactly do you use it?
So it's actually very easy to use. It mixes in cold. It's partially cold water soluble, so you can get some thickening out of it as it's cold, but at 160 degrees, 165 degrees is where it's going to fully hydrate. So if you wanted to use it, like I said, for a sorbet and you don't want to cook those fruits, you could just add it in as it's cold, in which we do in this recipe. And then if you add it to a recipe like the anglaise that is made into the ice cream, then you just add it in, and as you heat it, it will fully hydrate. So it works in both ways. All
right, and what's the typical usage ratio if someone wants to start playing around with it?
So this is always so funny because it could be all as low as 0.25%, but you could go all the way to 0.75 or even 1%. So it depends on what your recipe is and what you're trying to do with it. If you want it to be very thick, go on the higher end. If you want something just like this to add a little bit of like a creamy mouthfeel, then go lower.
Yeah, but that's still a tiny amount. So, just for numeric reference, like 0.25% of 1,000 grams is like 2.5 grams,
exactly,
right? So
yes.
we're talking very little here. And of course, what we have in front of us here is ice cream. So what exactly is the role that Gum plays in ice cream?
So like other gums, what it does is it covers up those ice crystals. So when you make ice cream, especially when it's done very slowly, then those ice crystals form, they become jagged, and when you put them in your mouth, you'll feel the ice crystals on your tongue, which is very common, especially if you go to like an ice cream shop, you're going to feel some of those crystals. What these do is they try to prevent that, so you get the creamiest mouthfeel possible. But one of the things you need to worry about is that not all gums are the same. So you may see a gum, you may see Guar, Locust Bean, Xanthan Gum. Just because they are a gum doesn't mean they work the same, have the same texture.
Right.
So Gum has like a very nice creamy mouthfeel. It also lets a lot of the flavor through, so a lot of the vanilla will come through in it. And I think it works really well for ice cream.
Right. And if you have been watching WTF for a while, so one of the earliest episodes that we did was about ice cream stabilizers. You can check that out in the link in the description below. We've also covered some of the other gums that you mentioned that are so popular, the Locust Bean Gum, Xanthan Guar, all in their own episodes, and you can find all those in the link in the description below because they're so versatile and you can use them for a lot of different things. However, since we have not covered Gum as an ice cream stabilizer, what we decided to do today was run a little test. And what is that?
So the little test is going to be, there are 4 different types of gum here. Xanthan, Locust Bean. We also have our perfect ice cream, and then Gum. And there are 4 different ones here, and you're going to be able to taste all 4 of them and see, what you like from one, how it differs from the other. So it's up to you, really, to tell us about what these different gums do.
Right.
And one of them is Gum, and I'm not sure if you'll be able to pick it out, but it'd be nice if you could.
Yeah, so this is not, we planned it, but I do not know which one is in which. So this is a blind taste test, right? So we're going to go, all right, which one do you want me to start with?
Whichever one you want. Go right ahead.
Let's go right to left.
There.
Number 1. I would say this one's okay. Definitely a little bit of ice crystal-y. Not as creamy as I know certain ice creams can get.
Okay.
So I would say an okay ice cream.
Okay. So yes, there's the same amount of stabilizer in each one. Each one of these recipes has 0.25% of the stabilizer in it. So they're all equal amounts across the board, so there isn't variations or anything like that.
Okay, so this one is really nice.
Okay.
It's very creamy. It's actually got like kind of a custardy, a little bit of a gelato texture to me.
Okay.
That's I like
telling.
it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. This one's like, I would say, in between these two in terms of creaminess, a little bit of ice crystals, a little bit more chewiness.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay. Do you want me to like guess which one's which?
Not yet.
Okay.
I want you to, at the end, tell me which one you
Okay.
think is the best. So, I think, but I also know which one is the one we're looking for here. So I can tell just by looking at them, but
Right.
I have not done the blind taste tests.
Yeah, this one also very creamy, also like that rich texture, no ice crystals. So
if you had to pick one, which was the best, which one do you think it is?
it's definitely between these two. I'm going to taste a little bit.
Okay.
I'm going to taste a little bit
Sure.
more.
We're going back.
I know.
All right, so while you do that, while you contemplate, I'm going to show what we did here in our recipe. And what we did is we took a sorbet, a raspberry sorbet, took a very basic recipe, and we added 0.25% of the Tara gum to it. We blended it up and made a really creamy, beautiful sorbet that melts evenly. Then we took this vanilla ice cream and we added it to the vanilla ice cream in the same 0.25%. Then what we did is we kind of layer them. So on the bottom, we do alternating layers of raspberry, then vanilla, raspberry, then vanilla. Then we make the layers opposite on the top, so it's almost like a checkerboard pattern. So when you scoop through it, you're going to get kind of a ripple effect of raspberry and vanilla ice cream and raspberry and vanilla ice cream.
Ooh.
So when I take a little scoop of this, you can see, and I scoop it out, you get a nice ripple effect.
Oh,
there,
that
which
looks
you can
really
see.
nice.
And you get both of them. And the best thing about the Tara gum that we find is they're kind of equal in texture. Even though one is made mostly with cream and one is made mostly with water, you get a really equal texture, but you get that big, bright flavor. We'll have you try that one last after you
Okay.
tell us which one you think is the best one.
All right, I'm going to go with this one.
Okay, okay. So you were between these two, right?
Yeah.
Now, why?
I think really, honestly, it's just a matter of preference. I
Okay.
think like this one felt a little bit richer to me. This one felt a little bit lighter, and I prefer a little bit lighter.
Okay.
But these two are like both like really good. I did not love this one, and this one, like this one's good. Like if I didn't taste all of them, I'd be like, oh, it was a good ice cream.
All right, so this one is actually the Tara gum.
Like I actually kind of figured that, but I had to
So
go with
you
my
get
heart.
that kind of rich texture,
Yeah,
yes.
it's very rich.
creamy, and it almost covers up all the ice crystals.
There's no ice crystals.
And this
in
one's
here.
actually guar gum. So the best thing about that is what you're saying is that Tara gum really stands in for guar gum in a lot of different recipes. So that's good that you're finding the difference between the two. The other two, which one do you think is the xanthan gum?
This one. No. Okay.
Xanthan gum is this.
I didn't love either of them. Not to like, but see, here's the one of the things, right? Which is
Yeah.
that if you were to actually use them in recipes, you would actually just play around with the ratios
Oh, yes,
as
yeah.
well. So like 0.25 across the board on everything is not.
Yeah, I wanted
how
to do
you
it
would do
as
that.
basic as possible because you can make great ice cream out of all of these, but I wanted to make it even across the board. But yes, you would probably have to go much lower on both of these here to make a really perfect ice cream. But here we get, between these two, almost interchangeable, and you get slightly different effects. A lighter, and we get a creamier texture here.
Yeah, I definitely think if you're looking for like a really like rich, creamy like mouthfeel, the Tara gum is the best for that.
Yes.
So.
Yep. So how about you try the ripple ice cream here?
Sure.
So this will be the last thing. So you can see actually the texture difference between
All right.
the two.
Okay.
And that's just a little bit of graham crackers on the bottom. So this is almost set up like a raspberry shortcake, if you will.
It's really nice because when we think about ice creams and sorbets, you think really different textures, but Scott's right, like it's exactly the same, consistent the whole way through.
Yes.
So the sorbet and the ice cream is just like blending together in your mouth.
Yep.
So it's really nice. And if you do want this recipe, the link will be in the description below.
Yeah, so we love this recipe exactly for the reasons you said. You can almost make sorbet have the texture of ice cream, and when you mix them together, then you don't have to worry about that, one melting before the other. They really are nice and even and cohesive, and you can make a great ice cream. Then you can switch out the flavors and do whatever you want with that base kind of sorbet texture that we have.
Yeah, and I personally don't eat a lot of sorbet, mostly because I find most of them to be too ice crystal-y, and this has absolutely none of that. So if you do want to try Xanthan Gum, you're going to get that creamy mouthfeel. You're going to get no ice crystals. You have to use very, very little of it in your recipe. So if you already have any different types of gums in your ice cream recipes, give Xanthan Gum a try. I think you'll be really happy with it. And if you haven't already added a gum into your ice cream, well, you need to get started because they make everything better.
Yeah, especially ones that you don't want to change the flavor, you don't want to dumb down that vanilla, and you can find it with all of these ingredients. You can make a really great vanilla ice cream. But Xanthan Gum's just an added one to it, because you can also take these ingredients and mix and match them. You can do Xanthan Gum and Guar, you can do Xanthan Gum, Xanthan and Guar, in very different small ratios, and you can make a really perfect ice cream that suits your recipe, because this is just our recipe. It could suit your recipe.
Yeah. So if you do try it and you like it or you hate it, whatever, leave the comments in the description below. And if you do make any ice creams, tag us on social media. We love to see what you come up with. So from here in the Modernist Pantry Test Kitchen, I'm Janie Wang.
And I'm Scott Guerin. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, like, comment, and subscribe. And turn that bell on because it notifies you when we drop a new video.
If you like any of today's recipes, go to blog.modernistpantry.com. There you'll find recipes, Ask a Chefs, and tips and tricks, and more.
And if you have a friend who you think would like this video, share it with them.
And to get any of these great ingredients, just go to our website, www.modernistpantry.com.
And until next time, we'll be here in the Test Kitchen, helping you create memorable and magical experiences.